Okay, students, we are starting with the chemical kinetics in one shot. And in this chapter, mainly you have to emphasize, you have to pay concentration on two things. Many number of formulas, how to remember formulas and what are the twist in the question. Which formula you have to use, where you have to substitute. That is the first thing. Okay. In the last year and the previous years, the people face the only two types of problems. Okay. Those problems are first remembering so many formulas. Okay. And that two formula substitution is not very accurate. If a small word changed, then substitution value, substitution place is entirely changing. Okay. So I will be explaining the formulas in detail so that that problem should not come to you. Okay. And second thing what you will learn is graph, study of the graph. These are the two things you have to pay concentration. Okay. First thing, application of formulas and remembering and accurate substitution. Second thing, how to study the graph. From the graph, how the questions are coming, which value you will derive from the graph. Okay. These are the two things which we are going to study in this session. Okay. And all detailed lectures are already available. Okay, if you feel that this topic require more practice, you can go through that topic and you can make a proper notes. Okay, notes are very important for short time revision. If you wanted effective revision, notes plays a vital role. If you write the notes on your own and by your handwritten, then the speed of revision will be definitely fast. Okay, so instead of studying from the book and studying from the any PDF, it is advised to make your own notes by going through the video lecture. Okay. So let's start with the first topic, right from the basic. We are going to start from the right from the basic, but more explanation will be given on the two things. What are those two things? First thing we are going to use is formulas, how to study the formula, which value you have to substitute, which formula you have to utilize. And second thing, how to study the graph. The very first page itself shows the graph. Okay. First thing is chemical kinetics is simply chemical and kinetics. Okay. So this is the branch of kinetics is basically branch of the physics. Okay. But that branch of physics is applied here on the chemistry. Okay. So here we are going to study about the kinetics of the chemical reaction, not about the bodies. Okay. So, and in the topic we are going to have what are the factors affecting speed of a reaction, what are the factors affecting the speed of a reaction, and how we can measure, how we can calculate, okay, the rate of reaction, how we can calculate. Number of ways are there how you can calculate, and how we can improve the rate of reaction, how we can retard the rate of reaction. These are the two topics. Okay, measuring the speed of a reaction and changing the speed of the reaction. Okay, so first of all, what is rate of chemical reaction? Okay, so there are two things you have to remember. First thing is rate of appearance. Okay. First thing is what? First word you will remember is rate of appearance. And second thing is rate of disappearance. Second thing is rate of disappearance. Okay. Rate of appearance is used for the product. Rate of appearance is used for the product, and disappearance word is used for the reactant. Okay, reactant is for the disappearance, and for the product we use the appearance. Okay, and sometimes appearance is also used because these are going to be main factor in the formulas. Appearance is also called as a formation. Okay, appearance is also called as formation. Rate of formation also okay, rate of appearance also okay. Okay, rate of formation or rate of appearance both are same. And rate of disappearance and rate of consumption, very rarely used consumption word. Okay, So how it is used and how it is represented in the formulas, that I will be telling. Okay. So when a chemical reaction occurs, why it is appearance and disappearance, concentration of reactant decreases. Okay. Because they are used up in the reaction. That's why disappearance word is used. And concentration of product increases there because they are formed. Therefore appears. Okay. So see, this is the graph. Main thing you have to remember, and you have to pay concentration on which axis what is taken. See, on x-axis what is taken? Time. Okay. On y-axis what is taken? Concentration. So when time is zero, that means initial. When time is zero, that means what it is? Initial. Okay. Initially, we have only reactant with us. See, this is the reactant and products are zero. Okay. So these are the reactant. This curve corresponds to reactant. This curve corresponds to product. Okay. This curve corresponds to product. This curve corresponds to reactant. Okay. Initially we have reactant, and finally, see, it is not touching to x-axis. Why? Because it may or may not be zero. Okay. In what condition it may not be zero? If the reaction is reversible. If the reaction is reversible, reactant will be still left over. If the reactants are irreversible, then reactants will be consumed, and that time this will be zeros. This is an optional. Okay. This may touch or not. Suppose if it is touching on extra polarization, if it is touching, what does it shows? It is a irreversible reaction. If it becomes parallel to the x-axis, if this becomes parallel to the x-axis, that means it is a reversible reaction. Okay. So initially we don't have product. As soon as some reactants are consumed, then some products are produced. Slowly, the product curve increases from zero to some value, and reactant curve reaches from some value to zero in case of a irreversible reaction, and parallel to the x-axis and constant for a reversible reaction. Okay. If it is a reversible reaction, the place from where it becomes parallel to x-axis, the place from where it becomes parallel to x-axis, that place is called as a attainment of equilibrium. Otherwise, it is completion of the reaction. For irreversible, it is completion of reaction once it reaches to zero. This is completion of reaction. This is applicable for irreversible. This is applicable for what? Irreversible reaction. Okay. This is for irreversible reaction. Okay. And this is parallel to the x-axis. If it is become parallel to the x-axis, both reactant and product, if more than one reactant are there, more than one product is there, but the curve all reactant and all product will become parallel to the x-axis, then it is called as reversible. Okay. If it is reversible, then it will become parallel. If it is irreversible, then it will become intersect the x-axis. Okay. It is intersect the x-axis. Is it understood? Now, with respect to x, okay, the concentration of x, let us take anything, okay, it can be reactant, it can be product. Concentration of x at the time final minus concentration of x at the time of initial divided by final time upon initial time, okay. So that is concentration of X divided by concentration of T. Okay. So here the X can be reactant and product, but rate of reaction will always be positive. So if it is reactant, to make it positive, we have to use some sign convention. Okay. So but for the unit side in the numerator, we have concentration. What we have? We have concentration. So concentration unit will be mole per liter. Concentration unit will be mole per liter. Okay. In the denominator, it is time. So time will be mostly it will be second or it can be minute also, but preferably it will be second. Okay. So that means R units of R will be mole. Okay. Mole, then it will be liter inverse, and then it will be second inverse. Then it will be what? Second inverse. These are the units of R. Okay. And don't get confused. R units will be constant. In future, we will study about the rate of order of reaction, molecularity of the reaction. But R units are going to be constant. Let it be of any order, let it have any molecularity. Irrespective of molecularity, units of rate of reaction are mole, liter inverse and second inverse. Okay. So this is about the first slide. Okay. Now let us go to the next slide. Okay. Next topic is rate of reaction is again divided into two types: average rate of reaction and instantaneous rate of reaction. If we take more time for calculation of the rate of reaction, then it is called as a average rate of reaction. Okay. Then instantaneous rate of reaction is at the given point of time. Okay. So here you can find it here. You can find it here, smallest time interval. It depends upon the time interval. If the time interval for calculation of rate of reaction, then if it is small, then it is called instantaneous. If the time interval is more, then it is called average rate of reaction. Okay. And one more thing, sign convention. Sign convention. See, A is a reactant and B is a product. So for the reactant, to keep the rate of reaction positive, minus sign is used. Okay. The purpose also you should know for the reasoning question. What is the purpose of minus sign? To keep the rate of reaction positive, this minus sign is introduced because that minus concentration of A final minus concentration of A initial. Okay. So divided by T final. Okay. T final minus T initial. So this value is smaller because reactant will keep on consumed. So this value is higher because product concentration after initially concentration will be higher, final concentration will be lower. So when you subtract higher value from the lower value, you will get negative. So that negative into negative, it will give positive. So that rate of reaction we should get positive. There is no such problem in the product. Okay. Product finally it will be more and initially it will be less. Therefore, you will get positive. Okay. So average rate of reaction and the instantaneous rate of reaction is very simple. If the rate of reaction measured for a smallest time interval, then it is called instantaneous. For a large time interval or completion of reaction, then it is called as a average rate of reaction. Okay. Very simple things, not much to worry about this. Okay, next thing is about the rate of reaction, how we will utilize for a, if you are given with a reaction. Okay, let a reaction where stoichiometric coefficient, this plays a vital role. If you are doing any mathematical calculation without balancing, if you are doing any mathematical calculation without using balancing, then it is going to create a problem in the answer. Okay. Stoichiometric coefficient of reactant and product are not same. Okay. Because as per the law of conservation, mass is conserved, not moles. Okay. So the rate of reaction depends on coefficients of reactant and product in a balanced chemical equation. Let us take a simple example here. C3H8 5O2 gives 3CO2 4H2O. Okay. Now, during the time interval where 1 mole of C3H8 consumed, where 1 mole of C3H8 is consumed at that time interval only, at that point of time only, during that time only, 5 moles of oxygen are consumed. That means oxygen rate of reaction is less or more? Good, more. How many times more? 5 times more. Okay. Here rate of consumption of oxygen is 5 times more as compared to propane. Same way, rate of formation of CO2 is 3 times more as compared to C3H8. Rate of formation of water is 4 times as compared to C3H8. If I want to make all of them equal, then I have to divide this by 1 by 4. You have to divide this by 1 by 3. You have to divide this by 5. That is 1 by 5. Okay. Then all will be equal. That equal quantity is only called as rate of reaction. Okay. So don't confuse with rate of reaction of C3H8 is not equal to rate of reaction of O2. Rate of reaction of CO2 not equal to rate of reaction of H2O. If you want to make them equal, what you have to do, you have to divide their rate of formation, rate of disappearance with their coefficient in the balanced chemical equation. Okay. Now, if I take only this, see, this is very carefully you have to study. But now you may feel it is very easy, but during the calculation, the same is going to give you negative marking. Okay, if I take only this is called as a rate of disappearance. Okay, rate of disappearance. Rate of disappearance of O2. Okay. Now, when I divide this rate of disappearance of O2 by 5, then I am getting rate of reaction. Then I am getting what? Rate of reaction I am getting. Okay. So, rate of reaction is not equal to rate of disappearance of O2. Sometimes it may be equal. What is that sometime example? Here, in case of the C3H8, rate of disappearance is exactly equal to rate of reaction. This happens only when? This happens only when the coefficient of the given reaction, when the coefficient of the given reactant or product is equal to 1. In that condition only, rate of disappearance or rate of appearance is equal to rate of reaction. Okay. So this is how you apply the coefficient to get the rate of reaction. Okay. Okay, after learning the basic concept, we are going to have some theory. So this theory also confusing when you get the more than one correct, especially that time it will be very confusing. So try to understand the concept clearly so that you will not get marks in the negative marks in the more than one correct theory based question. Okay. So first factors affecting reactions are temperature. Okay. See here, this word is very important. Most of the chemical reactions, that means the all are not. Okay. Most of the chemical reactions are accelerated. That means rate of reaction will increase with increase in temperature. Mostly rate of reaction is directly proportional to temperature. Okay. So the rate of reaction in a homogeneous mixture is approximately doubled, even tripled. This is a integer type question. Okay, by the increase of temperature only by 10 degrees Celsius. Okay, this is called as a temperature coefficient. What it is called as? Temperature coefficient. So temperature coefficient lies between 2 to 3. Temperature coefficient lies between 2 to 3. Okay. Temperature coefficient is defined as ratio of two rate constant. Temperature coefficient defined as ratio of two rate constant. Okay. This is also rate. This again you will understand better way. But this was the question. That's why I am emphasizing here. Okay, so let us take this is the rate constant at temperature T. Then this is also rate constant but temperature T plus 10. Okay, so the temperature coefficient is ratio of two rate constant which are differed by 10 degrees Celsius. This 10 degrees Celsius, how it is used, is it understood now? Okay, and its value doubled or tripled, that means 2 to 3. Temperature coefficient generally lies between 2 to 3. Okay, this is about the temperature and where the people are getting confused. Most of the word, accelerated word, double or triple word, 10 degrees Celsius. These are the four words mostly asked in the examination. Okay. Next, nature of reactant. Okay. The nature and strength of the bonds. Suppose the bond energy is less, then rate of reaction will be fast. Nature. Okay. Nature in the sense stability. If the reactants are unstable, then rate of reaction will be fast. If the bonds are weak, then rate of reaction will be fast. Okay. In the nature of reactant, how many factors are there? Two factors are there. What are those two factors? First of all, bond energy. For higher bond energy, higher rate of reaction, bond energy should be less. And for higher rate of reaction, reactant must be unstable. Unstable rate of reactant and less bond energy favors the rate of reaction. Second, surface area of the reactant. This is also very important. Okay, this we will study in the surface chemistry specially. Specific surface area. There is a word called as specific surface area. Okay, specific surface area means surface area available per gram of substance. Okay, per gram of substance. That's why we during the reaction we write finely divided or powdered. Okay, so if it is in the powdered form, if it is in the powdered form, the rate of reaction will be more. Okay. If it is in the lump form, then rate of reaction will be less. Rate of reaction directly proportional to specific surface area. To improve the surface area, what we will do? We will make the reactant in the powdered form. Once you make the reactant in the powdered form, automatically rate of reaction will increase. Otherwise, another way of taking is in the colloidal form. Okay. In the colloidal form, dispersed phase will be dispersed phase will be our reactant, and colloidal particles have surface area more as compared to the suspension. Okay, so more rapidly larger the specimens of the substance. Okay, if we take the finely divided reactant, finely divided means powdered form, and we take large specimen, that means if you take a substance in this form, okay, the surface area, specific surface area will be less. But if the same substance is further subdivided, okay, if it is further subdivided into small forms, then surface area will be increased. Okay, so therefore rate of reaction when it is taken in finely divided form will be more in comparison to large specimen. Okay, then second thing, fourth factor is catalyst. Okay, presence of small amount of substance accelerate the rate of reaction. Okay, that is called as a catalyst. Okay, and action of catalyst is specific to the reaction. Every catalyst may not be working for every reactant. Okay, so that is called as a catalysis, and it does not require in large quantity. For reacting cages of reactant also you may require grams of the catalyst. Okay, how it will work, that we are going to study in detail in this chapter at the end of the session, that is called as a collision theory. Okay, there is a Arrhenius concept and collision theory in this chapter only that we are going to study. Okay. Okay, next and final factor and most important factor on which rate of reaction depends, and almost entire chapter explains about this factor only. Okay, that factor is concentration. Okay, effect of concentration on rate of reaction. Already we have studied some effect, temperature we have studied, surface area we have studied. Okay, nature of reactant we have studied, nature of reactant we have studied, okay, and then about the catalyst we have studied. These are the four factors. uh, these are the four factors we have studied, okay. Now the most important among all these five is mostly concentration only, okay. So the rate of chemical reaction is the rate at which concentration of interacting substance vary is a general term, okay. It is used for increasing also, it is used for decreasing also, okay. So dx, this is the variation of concentration, and it is infinitesimally small. Infinitesimally small in the sense whatever the rate we are going to find out, that rate is instantaneous rate of reaction, okay. For small change in time, there will be small change in the concentration only, okay. So rate is equal to dx by dt, change in concentration during the change in time, okay. So that is the rate. So here directly we can find that rate is mostly depending on these factors are nowhere visible in this relation. In the relation of temperature, surface area, nature of reactant, they are indirectly varying our rate of reaction. But rate of reaction is directly influenced, mostly influenced by the concentration. Okay. So the value of dx by dt may be experimentally obtained by plotting the concentration of reactant or product against the time. Okay, this is the what graph we have studied in the starting only. Okay, so from this graph we will take two variables. Suppose this is the change in time, this is the change in concentration. Okay, now as we are taking the large time duration, this is called as a average rate of reaction. If you are taking a small time duration, then that is called as a instantaneous. This is called as instantaneous rate of reaction. If we use these two, then it is called as a average rate of reaction. Okay, if we use two different time intervals which are differed by a large duration, then it is called average rate of reaction. If it is between very short span of time, then it is called as a instantaneous rate of reaction. Okay, instantaneous rate of reaction for 1 or 2 minutes or even seconds, but for large duration it is average. Okay, so this is by plotting. This is one of the method of finding out the constant rate of reaction. Okay, the mathematical explanation expression relates the rate of reaction to the concentration of either reactant and product. But one thing you should make sure that if you are using the reactant, the negative sign is must. Okay, if you are using the product for such relation, for calculation of the rate of reaction, we may take positive. Okay, that is called as a rate law. Okay, because see here, the rate law is only eligible when one word is used. What is that word? Experimentally. Okay, rate law is a experimental concept. Okay, without doing experiment we cannot derive the rate law. Okay, for any reaction between two components, suppose the reactant A and reactant B, then rate law is derived. Rate law is derived by carrying out that reactant reaction experimentally. Okay, now this x and y, how we can find out that x and y there, that we are going to study now. Okay, and you can say here most of the people are not able to understand integrated rate law and differential rate law. Okay, so this is a rate law only. Okay, this is rate law, but it contains minus dA by dt. That's why this is called as a differential rate equation. It is called as what? Differential rate equation. Whenever you find d by dx, d by dt something, then it is called as a differential. Okay, so this is called as a differential rate law. There is another law, integrated rate law. Okay, that also we are going to get from the differential rate law only. Okay, so first of all we will carry out the experiment. Okay, From that experiment, what law we will derive? We will derive the differential rate law. And from that derivation of differential rate law, we will calculate the integrated rate law. Okay. So here, what are the terms I am going to explain? Here, X is X, as we are using the rate law, the exponent of the concentration term in the rate law is called as order. Okay. What it is called as order of reaction. Okay. Order of reaction. This is very common term, but mainly you should not miss with this word. Okay. With respect to what? A. Now here, what is Y? Y is also order of reaction, okay? But with respect to what? With respect to B. Now, if I take both X plus Y, if I take both X plus Y, then it is called as overall order of reaction. Then it is called as overall, okay? So overall order of reaction is different and order of reaction is different. Okay. If the question is overall order of reaction is always greater than independent order of reaction. Okay. What is the statement? Overall order of reaction is always greater than independent order of reaction. Okay. Is this sentence is true or false? Is the sentence is true or false? Okay. Okay. Normally what they feel overall will be always greater. No. Okay. Suppose x is equal to 2. Okay. Y is equal to -1. So overall order of reaction will be how much? 1. Okay. So here overall order of reaction is 1, but independent order of reaction is 2. Okay. So it is not that always overall order of reaction will be greater than individual. Okay. But mostly, that's why I emphasize that English literature, English word is plays a vital role. If the question is if the sentence is mostly overall order of reaction is greater than independent, then it is correct. But if the word is used always, then it will be incorrect. Okay. Is it understood now? Okay. This is about the x and y. Now coming to k. K is called as a rate constant. Okay. The main thing you should remember is constant. The word is used rate constant, but its units are not constant and its value is not constant. Okay. Units of rate constant are not constant, but units of order of reaction, sorry, rate of reaction is always constant. Okay. So this, after repeating so many times also, people are neglecting this word and getting the wrong answer. Okay. What was the question framed? That I will tell you. What is the units of? Okay. So what is the units of second order reaction? Okay. Units of rate of second order reaction. Or this was the units of rate of second order reaction. Okay. So this was the question. So irrespective of, it can be second order, it can be third order, rate of reaction units will be always mole liter inverse, second inverse. But this second order, first order, they are going to affect the units of rate constant. How it is going to affect, that is what we are going to study now. Okay. So I think now it is clear. First of all, X is the order of reaction with respect to A, Y is the order with respect to B, K is the rate constant. This total, it is called as a differential rate equation. What it is called as? Differential rate equation. Okay. So this is what the main paragraph. Okay. Now let us go to the next one. Okay, depending on the way of carrying out the reaction. Broadly, the reactions are divided into two types. First one is called elementary reaction. Second one is called complex reaction. First one is called as what? Elementary reaction. Second one is called complex reaction. Okay. So elementary reactions are which takes place in single step. Okay. So and in this what wherever this word is used. Okay. So here only I am telling you wherever this elementary word is used, then molecularity, will be equal to order. Okay, because this is the reaction taking place in one single step. Okay, so the reactions which are carried out in one single steps are called as a elementary reaction, which are carried out in more than one elementary step, then it is called as a complex reaction. Okay, complex reactions are further divided into how many types? Three types: consecutive reaction, reverse reaction, parallel reaction. Okay, so these we are going to study in detail. So it is just an introduction. Okay, so don't forget to watch and be present till last. Okay, so because consecutive reaction all formulas together, and reverse reaction all formulas together, parallel reaction all formulas together, we are going to study. Okay, so these are going to be very important for the advanced examination. Understood? So consecutive reaction which takes place in series of steps, a converted to b or a2 and a2 converted to a3. Finally, we get A3 and initially we have A2. This is called as a reaction intermediate. Okay. So there is a small difference between the reaction intermediate and transition state. Okay. Transition state is different and reaction intermediate is different. Okay. So what is the difference? Difference will be on the basis of their lifespan. Okay. So if suppose carbocation, then it is a reaction intermediate. Carbocation is a reaction intermediate. Okay. And during the formation of bond from one reactant, breaking of the bond with another reactant, that is called as a transition state. Okay. Transition state lifespan will be very less as compared to intermediate. Intermediate lifespan will be very less with respect to reactant or product. Okay. So this is the decreasing order of lifespan or stability. Most unstable will be transition state. Second unstable will be intermediate. Third unstable will be reactant or product. Okay. So this is about the consecutive reaction. Next, reverse reaction. So this already I told you during the graph itself. If during the reaction after certain point of time, if you have constant amount of reactant, constant amount of product, then these reactions are called as a reverse reaction. So this reaction never goes completion. This word I am going to use at two different places. First, you should remember here. Okay. First reaction which never goes completion. Okay. The reaction which never goes completion, because this was once more than one correct. Okay. Which of the following reaction never goes completion? Okay. What is that? First, reverse reaction will never go completion. There is one more irreversible reaction also that never goes completion. What is that? That we are going to study. Okay. So next, parallel reaction. Parallel reaction, same reactant at the given conditions of point of time, there will be two products. There a simultaneously, there are two things, consecutively and simultaneously. Here the product A3 is only possible. Okay. Here product B also possible, product C also possible at any point of time. Suppose after 10 minutes. Okay. Here either you will find A2 or you will find A3, but not together. But after 10 minutes, you will find some amount of B, some amount of C. That amount may be varied. Okay. That is called as a percentage yield. Percentage yield of B is different, percentage yield of C is different, because their rate constants are different. How to find out the percentage yield of B? How to find out the percentage yield of C? when you are given with the quantity of A and rate constant, that formula we are going to study at the end of the session. Okay. So basically in this slide, what we have studied, types of reaction. If it takes place in one single step, elementary. If it takes place in more than one step, complex. Complex further divided into how many types? Three types: consecutive reaction, reverse reaction, and parallel reaction. Okay. So this is about the types of reaction based upon the class where they are occurring. Okay. Okay, already we have studied order. What is that order? Anything which is carried out experimentally. Okay, the order of reaction is sum of the powers of concentration of reactant in the rate law. Okay, so before answering your question, you should make sure this word is there. Okay, because same definition, everything same. If it is in place of the rate law, if it is used law of mass action. Okay, in place of the rate law, what is that word used? Law of mass action word is used. Then the entire sentence, entire definition is going to be wrong. Okay, in the law of mass action, same powers if we add, then it is going to be what? Molecularity. What it is going to be? Molecularity. Molecularity of the reaction is sum of the powers of concentration of reactant in the law of mass action. Okay. So based upon the order, first order, second order, and third order. Okay. Certain reaction in which concentration of reactant does not, very very important word, does not affect, then they are only called as a zero order reaction. Okay, what are the zero order reaction? The reaction in which you take any amount of concentration, you increase the concentration, you decrease the concentration, if rate of reaction is going to be same, then that reactions are called as zero order reaction. Okay, and very very important, and I am going to give you two examples uh, by keeping in view about the importance of this word, pseudo order reaction. Okay, pseudo means false. Okay, pseudo solid, true solids, that also we have studied. If the all properties of solids are exhibited by a given solid, it is called as a true solid. If you are, most of the properties are followed but not followed in some cases, then it is called as a pseudo solid. Same way, the reaction whose order is different from the actual due to large excess concentration of one of the other reactant. Okay, their actual order is different, appearing order is different. Okay, they're very very important examples. The pseudo order of reaction and zero order of reaction, I think it is clear now. If any reaction whose rate of reaction is independent of concentration of reactant, then it is called as a zero order reaction. Okay, if it is depending on, if it depends on concentration of reactant, if it depends on concentration of reactant, it cannot be zero order, and appearing order is different from experimental order, then it is called as a pseudo order reaction. Okay, this is the definition of the pseudo order and zero order. Okay, I think it is clear to all of you. Now we will go to the next one. Okay, so first example for the pseudo order reaction is hydrolysis of ester. See here, appearing order of reaction. Appearing order of reaction is what? This one. Okay, here 1 and 2. Okay, excess of water, but what I told you, the it is not equal because one of the reactant is excess. Here what is excess? This is excess. So the total rate of reaction is independent of water. This again we are going to study, that is called as isolation method. We are going to study how to find out the order of reaction, method to determine order of reaction. Okay. So this reaction appearing to be second order, but in practice it is first order. Okay. That's why it is called as a pseudo first order. Okay. Appearing to be is different from the actual. Then such reactions are called as pseudo order, and pseudo it is first order. That's why it is called as a pseudo first order reaction. Is it clear? Okay. So this is about the next one. Okay. Next example we are going to see. Okay, hydrolysis of sucrose. It is different example. That was hydrolysis of ester. Now here it is hydrolysis of sucrose. Here also same. Problem is with excess of water. Okay. When one of the reactant, it is supposed to depend on concentration of sucrose and concentration of water. Okay. So it appearing order of reaction is 2, but actual order is what? 1. That's why this is called as a pseudo first order reaction. What it is called as? Pseudo first order reaction. Okay. There are lot of numericals coming on this. People are substituting second order formula because of the way it appears. The way it appears is of second order, but actually it is of first order. That's why it is called as a pseudo first order. Okay. Don't go as per the reaction. Go as per the concentration. If any of the reactant is taken in excess, so either they will mention in the paragraph that it is excess. So you need not to consider during the derivation of rate law. Okay. Or sometimes they will write at the underneath of that reactant as excess. So that means you need not to consider that in the rate law. So here water is in excess, therefore because of that it is not considered in the order of reaction, therefore it is first order reaction. Okay. Actual order is 2, but experimental order is 1. That's why it is pseudo first order reaction. Okay. Is it clear? Okay, next one is molecularity. Okay, so depending on the order of reaction, was one order or second order, first order, third order, like that. Okay, and zero order also possible, but molecularity is not possible. The differences also we are going to study. Okay, molecularity is defined as total number of reacting species. So once we say molecularity is zero, that means no molecules are reacting. Okay, so molecules, atoms or ions taking part in elementary reaction represents number of reactant molecules undergoing collision to bring about chemical reaction. Okay, based upon the molecularity, like based upon the order, first order, second order, third order, but based upon the molecularity, unimolecular. See, only one molecule F2O2 decomposes to give F2 plus O2. Same way bimolecular, two molecules are there. Okay, see here, this molecularity is 2, but order of reaction is still 1. Okay, molecularity is 2 because in molecularity we don't consider whether it is going to affect our rate of reaction or not. Okay, we will simply take the balanced chemical equation and we will calculate the molecularity. For molecularity, we require only balanced chemical equation, not experimental. Okay, trimolecular, tetramolecular, then molecular will be termolecular. Sorry, not tetra. It is termolecular or trimolecular, both when it is 3. Okay, and higher molecularity also very rare. Okay. Okay. Next one is difference between the molecularity and order of reaction. Okay, very easy. So let us go fast. Number of atoms or ions that must collide with one another simultaneously so that chemical reaction. Okay, but which depends on the reactant on which rate of reaction is completely depends. Okay, and we will take rate law into consideration here, law of mass action into consideration. Okay, it is always whole number. It cannot, it may not be whole number. Sometimes it may be fraction, sometimes it may be negative. Okay, and it can be simply by taking the slowest step or by taking the calculated equation. Okay, balanced equation. But here it is experimentally determined. It is experimentally determined. Molecularity applicable only to the elementary, then it is equal to order of reaction. It is applicable for elementary as well as complex reaction. Okay, this is the difference between the molecularity and order of reaction. Okay, next is rate law, rate constant, and units. Okay, see the dx by dt shows that this is which law? This is differential rate law. This is which law? Differential. Okay, differential rate law. R is equal to K into concentration to the power of N. So this N is the order of reaction, K is a proportionality constant, dx by dt is the rate of reaction. Okay, so this is about the very simple rate law, and units we are going to study now. Okay, okay, these are the units. So rate constant units, direct and shortcut formula, dx by dt is what? R. Okay. R into 1 upon concentration to the power of n. So here n changes. So units of K changes. For zero order reaction, if I substitute n is equal to 0, then this something upon something to the power of 0, it will be 1. So rate of reaction units equal to order of reaction. Okay, sorry. Rate of reaction equal to units of rate constant. Okay, then first order n is equal to 1 time inverse. Okay, second order liter mole inverse time inverse, third order liter square mole inverse and time inverse 2. Okay, simply you put n value, you will get the complete units. Okay, this is a general direct formula, so you can remember. Next, let us go to the next slide. Now there is a lot of similarities, lot of complications during the understanding. Rate of reaction is different, rate law is different, rate constant is different. Okay. So first of all, rate of reaction is speed with which reactant are converted into product. Okay. So you can find it in two ways: rate of decrease in concentration of reactant or rate of increase in concentration of product. But rate law is a expression. Okay, it is only equation which denotes experimentally observed. Okay, and proportionality to which, and it does not depend on the concentration of reactant. It depends only on the temperature. Okay, it depends on initial concentration. It depends on concentration of reactant. It is independent of concentration. Okay, its units are always constant. Its units are different for different. First order is units different, second order, third order, and fourth order. Okay, and it units depends on the rate constant. Okay, so these are the comparative study of the rate of reaction, rate law, and rate constant. Okay, let us go to the next slide. Okay, now one by one we are going to study now. Okay, now first let us study about the zero order reaction. Okay, so zero order reaction differential rate law. Zero order reaction differential rate law will be R is equal to minus dA by dt equal to K into A naught into K. Okay, So A naught will be to the power of it will be 0. Therefore, it is equal to K. Okay. So this is the differential rate law. Now we are coming to the integrated rate law. Integrated rate law is very important and everywhere it is used. This formula you will remember. K is equal to A0 minus A by T. Okay. So where A0 is the initial concentration and A is a concentration at the time of T. Okay. Where K is the constant of integration L. Okay. And when T is equal to 0, this is the formula you will remember for the zero order reaction. And we are going to use it for the derivation of T half also. Okay. From the equation, it can be seen that zero order reaction rate constant is equal to rate of reaction at all concentration. See this formula. Okay. This is a hint you will be given. If a sentence is used, the reaction in which rate of reaction is always constant. That means it is a zero order reaction. Okay. Units are mole, liter inverse, second inverse. If it is reaction is zero order, then this one very, very important. That graph we are going to see in the next slide. Concentration of A versus time will be a straight line with the slope. Okay. With the slope is equal to minus K and intercept is equal to A0. How it is going to appear that we are going to see now. Okay. Now let us see the graph. Okay. So this is the graph corresponding to the zero order. Intercept is what? A0. Numericals, very important for the numericals. For zero order, there will be straight line. Straight line not always. On the y-axis, it should be concentration of A, and on the x-axis, it should be time. This is the integrated rate law. This is the integrated rate law. Okay. This is y is equal to mx plus c. See, intercept C is equal to A0 and slope is equal to minus K. On x-axis we have taken T. On y-axis we have taken A. Okay. Very important graph, numericals. Indirectly there will be numericals. Okay. So let us see the next one. Next, it is about the first order. Okay. So first order rate law and all we are going to study now. First order here it is dA by dt k into A. Here it will be k to A to the power of 1 where k is a proportionality constant also called as velocity constant and this word is most dangerous. Specific rate constant or specific rate of reaction also it is called. Okay. So here the integrated rate law for the, this is the integrated rate law, this is the differential rate law. Okay. Minus dA by dt is equal to k into A. This is differential rate law, this is integrated rate law. Okay. The integrated rate law in at two time intervals. This is T1 and T2. Okay. And then this is very important for the advanced examination. K is equal to 1 upon T2 minus T1 ln A1 by A2. If initial concentration is given, you will use this formula. And if you are given with the concentration at two different time intervals, after 5 minutes, after 10 minutes, concentration is used given, that time you will use this formula. If initial concentration, final concentration or concentration at the time t is given, that time you will use this formula. Okay. This formula is useful for fast numerical solving. Okay. Now let us see the next one. Okay, this is the graph and this already we have seen integrated rate law. Okay, integrated rate law for the first order is different. in a first zero order, we don't have the logarithm. Okay, this will be straight line only when you use logarithm. Ln must be there. If ln is not there, this is not going to be a straight line. Okay, since equation has two variable, two constant, it represents a straight line. Okay, but always be sure that log must be present. Okay, and in this one slope is equal to minus k and intercept is equal to ln 0. Simply this is the y is equal to mx plus c. So slope is negative, that's why line is coming down, and intercept is positive, therefore positive intercept. Okay, this is for the first order rate of reaction. Okay, next let us go to the next one. So it can also be expressed as this graph already we have seen, and there is another formula. Okay, there is another formula can also be expressed as k is equal to 2.303 upon t log a0 by a. Otherwise, log a0 by a is equal to kt upon 2.303. Depending on formulas, you can use either of them. Okay. Now let us see about the slope between. Graph between, see here, this there is a variation, sorry, here there is a variation log a0 by a. All type of graph I am explaining at one place so that you should not have any confusion in the examination. Okay, here slope is equal to k by 2.303. What is the difference? First difference we have taken log. In place of ln we have taken what? Log. Okay, and that line was down. Now it is passing through the origin and with positive slope. Okay, that is the difference between the graph when you draw it between log a0 by a, and that was it was only ln a. Okay, so you have to be very careful what variables you have taken on the x and y axis, what will be the slope, what will be the intercept. Here it is simply y is equal to mx. Okay, here m is a positive quantity. What is that? K by 2.303. And x-axis is time, y-axis is this one. Okay. Is that understood? Okay. Now next let us see the next one. Okay. Next one is this. You very rarely you will find this one. Normally you will find the in the books or anywhere you will find the concentration if the reactants are in gaseous phase. Okay. So very careful. See this coefficient also going to affected. Here it is 1, here it is 2, here it is 2. Okay. So by solving, and initially it is P1, and at any point of time, pressure is affected by this one, and this one. Okay. So 2 into Pt. P1 is the initial pressure which is affected only by the N2O5. Okay. Pt is the pressure at any given point of time. This will be different for the different reaction. That depends on the coefficients. Okay. So this formula is derived by considering 2 moles of reactant gives total 3 moles of product. This is Y3, is it understood? And Y2 because 2 moles of reactant. Why it is P1? Because there is a difference of only 1, P1. Okay. First order gaseous phase reaction model formula derivation. Okay. Now let us see the next one. Okay, now we have reached to the very different and very important topic, second order reaction. In this one, we are going to discuss two types. Okay, second order reaction are divided into two types. First one is when both our reactants are same, that is A square. If it is second order reaction can be because of only one reactant, that is A square. There is another formula which you rarely find in the most of the books. When two different reactants are there, A and B, the reaction is first order with respect to A, also first order with respect to B. But overall order of reaction is going to be how much? It is going to be 2. Okay. That case also we are going to study now. So very important thing. So be attentive now onwards. Okay. First case I am taking. What case I am taking? First case I am taking 2A. That means reaction is second order with respect to one reactant. Overall order also same and order with respect to A also same. Okay. For that, this is the differential rate law. For that, this is the differential rate law. Okay. And this is the integrated rate law. This is the integrated rate law. But if you wanted to find out, graphically, you have to take T on the x-axis. T on the x-axis 1 by, again I am telling you, there is no log term in the zero order. There is no log term in the zero order. There is no log term in the second order. But log term is there. Ln term or log term is there only in the first order. So exponential variation, normal variation. Okay. Here it will be simple variation with respect to 1 upon concentration of A. Okay. Zero order, it was something different. You can draw all the graphs together and compare and study. Okay. So x-axis we have taken time and y-axis we have taken 1 upon concentration of A. Okay. Then you will get a line positive slope. In the zero order it was a negative slope, and common thing is intercept there also positive, here also positive intercept. Okay. And slope is equal to k. What is this? Slope is equal to k. Okay. So you can change it, and this you will find some books you will find out here a0 is equal to a. Okay. And a is equal to residual concentration at the given point of time. So this can be written as a minus x. Okay. Here what is x here? X is the concentration consumed. A is the initial reactant taken, and capital A is the leftover. What is this? This is leftover. This is leftover. What is X here? This is consumed. These words are very important and confusing. Okay. This is the initial concentration. Okay. Initial, consumed and leftover. Okay. Leftover will be capital A. X is the consumed. A is the initial concentration. If I modify this equation by substituting them, then the formula will be like this. Okay. This is the formula. Suppose for 2 moles of A are consumed, that 2 moles will be X. Okay. When we take 10 moles initially, so 10 moles will be A. Understood? Suppose 8 moles are left over, then we can substitute directly this formula. When to use this formula and when to use this formula, is it understood? When something about the consumed value is given, you will use the second formula. This is the second formula when you will use when consumed information is given. When leftover information is given, then you will use this formula. And slope, what is the differences between the first order graph, second zero order graph and second order graph? Is it understood? There is a log term in the first order. There is no log term in the zero and second order. And zero order, there is a negative slope, and second order, positive slope. Okay. So that is the differences. You have to be very careful. Okay. Okay. Now we come about the second condition. What is the second condition I told? It is a first order with respect to A, second or first order with respect to B. Now overall order of reaction is again second order reaction. Overall order of reaction is what? Second order reaction. Okay. Where A and B, this is with respect to concentration and time K. Okay. So this is the integrated rate law. Very, very different. If you don't remember this and question comes, then it is going to be a problem. Okay. So, but units are same. Units of rate constant and units of order of rate of reaction all are same, but only this formula changes because this formula is changed. Okay, so note down this, very important. I think you have noted. Now let us see the next one. Third order reaction. Okay, so as I told you, we will be starting from the very basic, but we will understand everything right up to the advanced level. Okay, so if you lose your patience in between, it is going to be a problem at the end of that, because end of the session, what I told you, collision theory, Arrhenius concept, that we are going to study. So have patience, understood, and don't forget to make your own notes. Okay. So here, these are the, again here, what are the conditions? Three conditions. The third order reaction can be attributed to first order with respect to A, first order with respect to B, first order with respect to C. That time, this is the equation. Okay. So this is the differential rate law. This is the differential rate law, and this is the integrated rate law. What is the condition? It is first order with respect to all reactant. It is a first order with respect to all reactant. This is the formula. Okay. And it is a second order with respect to one reactant, first order with respect to another reactant. Only two reactants are there. Okay. Only how many reactants are there? Two reactants are there. Then in differential rate law, this is the differential rate law, dx by dt. Okay, and this is the integrated rate law. And surprisingly, I will give one more slide that will be very useful. And here the third condition is third order with respect to one type of reactant. Okay, so very simple differential rate law and very simple integrated rate law. Okay, note down these formulas, especially if you are aspiring to be advanced examination. You have to be very careful with respect to second order reaction in the two conditions we have studied. First condition, it is first order with respect to two types of reactant, or second order reactant, second order reaction with respect to one reactant. Okay. Next, third order reaction, again three categories. First order reaction with respect to three reactant, second order with respect to one reactant, and first order with respect to one reactant. Okay, and third order with respect to one type of reactant. Okay, I think all formulas you have noted. Now let's go to the next one. Note down this. Okay, now we will study together, all together with respect to half-life. These are just if you know the derivation of one of the formula. See, this is the integrated rate law already we have. Okay. So here, what is the half-life? Here, there it was A. Okay. So the time at which A becomes is equal to A0 by 2. So that is what we have substituted. Okay. Time taken by a reactant. Time taken by a reactant to become half of its initial concentration. Okay. So in that integrated rate law only, what I have done, wherever A is there I have substituted A0 by 2. Then we got the formula We got the formula for the half-life of zero order reaction. One thing you should remember, see here, T half is directly proportional to initial concentration. If anywhere this word is used, he automatically hints you that it is a zero order reaction. Okay. In the further order reaction also, I will tell you what hint and what is the meaning. Okay. And see, we can see the graph also. A0 and T half. It is a graph directly proportional passing through the origin. Okay. Passing through the origin. And one more thing, it is inversely proportional to rate constant. Okay. Zero order reaction half-life is directly proportional to initial concentration, inversely proportional to rate constant. These are the two hints we should use. Okay. This is for the zero order reaction. If you know this method of solving, this method is universal method applicable for all order of reaction. Let it be first order, let it be second order, let it be 10th order, let it be any order. Okay. This what you have to do in the integrated rate law. Wherever you will find A, there you will find A0 by 2. And accordingly, these terms you should remember whether it is directly proportional or inversely proportional to A0. Sometimes independent. Okay. Now let us see the next one. This is for the first order. Okay. Now you are master about this. How to derive C half-life. This formula only 80 in place of 80 what we can write? A0 by 2. In this place if we write A0 by 2. Okay. So A0 will get cancelled. Ln2 will be there. Ln2 is equal to 0.693. So now what are the two things we can observe? T half is independent of initial concentration. There is no A0 term, but still it is inversely proportional to, but it is still inversely proportional to rate constant. It is inversely proportional to rate constant. See here it is parallel to x-axis. I am changing the concentration of A0, but still it is parallel to x-axis. Wherever it is given, the half-life is independent of concentration, initial concentration, then it is called as a first order reaction. Okay, this is the graph, and accordingly we will go for the next one. I think all of you noted this. Okay, next we are going for the next graph. Second order. Okay, second order, what you have to, everywhere same observation you have to make. Okay, second order is inversely proportional to the initial concentration. Zero order directly proportional to concentration, and first order independent of initial concentration, second order inversely proportional to concentration. But you will feel here it is directly proportional. Why that feeling comes? Because here we have taken 1 upon A naught. To make it directly proportional, we can say T half, we can study this. T half inversely proportional to A0, or we can say T half is directly proportional to 1 by A0. Okay. So this is the graph for the second order reaction. Noted? Okay. Now let us go to the next graph. Third order reaction. It is also inverse proportional, but be careful. What is the careful you have to be? It is inversely proportional to A0 to the power of 2. A0 to the power of 2. Okay. See here also 1 upon A0 to the power of 2. And what is the formula for T half? This is the formula for T half. 3 by 2 K A0 to the power of 2. Okay. This is for the third order reaction. So as I want that you should complete the syllabus in the advanced level, I am giving you information about the third order reaction also. Okay. Okay. Now let us go to the next slide. For nth order, okay, there is a question, direct question. T half is directly proportional to 1 upon a to the power of n minus 1. Okay. Suppose if it is zero order, n is equal to 0, 0 minus 1, that is directly proportional it will become. First order, n is equal to 1, a to the power of 0 constant. And to find out very, very useful shortcut formula, very useful shortcut formula, T half is equal to 1 by k into n minus 1, 2 to the power of n minus 1. Very important shortcut formula to find out T half for any order, nth order reaction. Noted? Okay. Next, let us go to the next slide. Now complex reaction. As I told you, we are going to study at the end of the reaction, at the end of the session, we are going to study two important things. Complex reactions, summary we are going to study. After that, what topic I told you? Very good. Collision theory. These are the very important, difficult topics for the advanced examination. Okay. So this is the complex reactions are how many types? Three types. Consecutive reaction, reversible reaction and parallel reaction. Okay. So for consecutive reaction, differential rate law. Okay. Differential rate law. Suppose we want differential rate law with respect to A. dA by dt is equal to k1 to the power of A to the power of 1. Very important. See here B. Now the question arises why it is minus. There was a numerical where you have to derive it. Okay. Here during this reaction, this is consumed and this is produced. Okay. So the rate of production is K1 to the power A, concentration of A. Rate of dissociation into C will be K2 to the B to the power of 1. Why it is minus, is it understood? Because it is consumed. Once it is consumed, it will be minus. Once it is produced, it will be plus. See, here in the C, there is no minus term. Why? Because C is not consumed. It is final product. Okay. These derivation questions are there that we are going to solve in the numerical session. Okay. There is one more one shot numerical session. Whatever the topic care I am telling you that you should be able to apply them. Okay. And integrated rate equation for A is this one, for B is this one. This all are derivated in the individual lecture of consecutive reaction. Okay. We have done only one lecture, complete lecture for the consecutive reaction. How these values came that we have derived. And examples, pyrolysis of acetone, decomposition of ethylene oxide. Okay. Very important formulas. I hope all of you are noting and revising. The best way to revise is by making the handwritten notes, shortest possible notes. Okay. Now let's go to the another type of complex reaction. This is another type of complex reaction. What is that? Parallel reaction. Okay. In the parallel reaction, differential rate law, integrated rate law and examples. Okay. So in the parallel reaction, if we wanted to have differential rate law with respect to A, here this minus sign shows that it is reactant and it is consumed in both reaction K1 and K2. K1 and K2 to the power of A. And B, here it is plus. Nothing means plus because it is product. And it is affected by only one rate constant K1. Okay. and it is affected with only one rate constant K2. Okay, so K2 with respect to A, K2, K1 with respect to A. Here also it is positive. Differential rate law, where it is plus, where it is minus, is it understood? Now, if you wanted to find out concentration of A at any given point of time T in a parallel reaction, this is the formula. A0 is the initial concentration of A. Okay. Same way B at any point of time B, this is the formula. At any point of time C, this is the formula. Okay. These are the formulas applicable for the parallel reaction. Okay. And let us see the some examples. Dehydration of 2-methyl butanol. 2-methyl butanol, there will be two different products. Markovnikov rule, anti-Markovnikov rule, Sage-Off rule. Wherever these type of rules are used, they are considered as nitration of phenol. It can be ortho, meta, para products. Okay. And Sage-Off rule and Markovnikov rule. Wherever they are used, that time they come under the parallel reaction. Okay. I think all of you noted these shortcut formulas. Okay, now let us see the next one. Third category of complex reaction is reversible reaction. Okay, reversible reaction is again same differential rate equation. Differential rate equation minus dA by dt. This is a reactant and this is a product, therefore plus. Here nothing means plus. Okay, so A is consumed with respect to forward. Here already minus sign is there. That's why here no minus sign. Minus into minus it will be plus. That's why it is minus is used. Kr, reversible. Rate constant for the reverse reaction. Rate constant for the forward reaction Kf. Okay. So this type of equation are you have to derive when you are given with the equation. And concentration of A at any point of time is A is equal to concentration of A equilibrium plus X equilibrium e to the power of minus Kf Kr to the power of T. Okay. Example, dissociation of hydrogen iodide. Hi gives H2 plus I2 and reaction between CO and NO2 gases. These are the two examples which follows the reversible or opposing reaction and their formulas. I think all of you noted. Okay, I'm clearing them. Now we are going to the next topic. Graphical method. There are many methods. Okay, there are many methods of reaction. Graphical method. First, we will draw the graph, and already we have studied the individual graph. Okay, when it will be straight line. For the zero order, log is not there, and for first order, ln is supposed to be there, and for second order, again log is not there. So we will draw the graph to get the straight line. Okay, to get the straight line, there was one numerical related to this also. Okay, so if we draw the graph for the log a minus x versus t, if we get the straight line, then it is a first order. If the plot of 1 upon a minus x versus t is a straight line, then it is second order. If the plot is of the zero order, then directly you can get the direct graph. Okay, this is the graph for the graphical method. Okay, how we are getting straight line, based on that we can find out the order of reaction. Is it understood? Noted? Okay, next one. Half-life method. Okay, so this is also very important. Here half-life is increases with increase in initial concentration. So therefore it is which order? Increases with increase in initial concentration, half-life increases. That means it is zero order. Increase in concentration does not affect the half life. It is a first order. Okay. And increase in concentration decreases half life. That is a second order. So this is the way you can find out the order of reaction. Very direct formula. Okay. And if you want logarithm also, you can take logarithm formula for fast calculation. For easy calculation, this one. For fast calculation, this one. If you use the log table. Okay. Note down this. So graph method, half-life method we have studied. Okay. Next one is Van't Hoff differential method. This is normally not asked in the mains examination, but most frequently asked in the advanced examination. Okay. So if you are aspiring to be MSET or mains examination, you need not to worry about this. Okay. So, but NEET people also, if you wanted in the MSET, that time it is important. So two different initial concentration. This derivation also I have told you, but only in the first order there are chances. Okay. So Van't Hoff differential method. Suppose at the concentration A2, this is the rate of reaction. At the concentration C1, this is the rate of reaction. Then taking the logarithm and finding the order of reaction. Van't Hoff differential method. Van't Hoff differential method. Okay. Note down this. Noted. Okay. Next method we are going to study initial rate method. What is the next method? Initial rate method. This is mostly asked question in the mains exam and especially NEET exam, especially MSET exam. Okay. We will carry out the reaction n number of times. Okay. So first what we will do, we will take the concentration of A zero point 0.1, B 0.1, C 0.1. After that, we will find out the rate. That is, let us take R1. After that, we will take the concentration of A same as zero point 0.1 only. B also same as zero point 0.1 only. C we will change it to zero point 0.2. Then we will find out the R2. Now the variation of rate of reaction is just because of what? Is just because of what? Okay, that you have to identify. Let me see who will answer. Okay, so here we are identifying, we are isolating other A and B. Here the rate of reaction changed only just because of C. Suppose if I am changing the concept here, how many times I am changing? Rate of reaction as a 2, a concentration I have changed to 2. If rate of reaction also increased by 2 times, that means Z is equal to how much? Z is equal to 1. Okay. If concentration is increased 2 times, rate of reaction increased 4 times. That time Z is equal to how much? It is 2. Okay. If I am changing 2 times, but rate R1 is equal to R2. That means change in concentration of C does not affect the rate of reaction. So then it is zero order reaction. How we will find out individually, is it understood? Now next time what I will do, I will take the concentration of C as zero point 0.1, B also zero point 0.1, but I will change the concentration of A as a zero point 0.2. Then I will find out the rate of reaction R3. Then same way I will proceed with R1 and R3. How many times rate of reaction increased? So I will find out X value. Then I will keep the concentration of A and C constant, change the concentration of B. Like that R4. By comparing the R1 and R4, you will find out Y. This is called as a initial rate method. Okay. So it is not that every time we have to do the experiment 4 times. That depends on the number of reactants. Okay. So likewise, you can derive the rate law. Is it understood? Okay, this is about the initial rate method. Now let us see the next one. Ostwald isolation method. Okay, people, those who got where to neglect, where should not neglect, this will be done. Okay, so this method is applicable for the reaction in which two or more reactant. Okay, so let us suppose A plus B plus C. Okay, this gives product. Then we will neglect B and C by taking them excess. Wherever there is a excess word is used. So C is also excess and B is also excess. Then whatever the rate of reaction, that will be just affected by what? A. Okay. Then again we will carry out the experiment. That time we will take A and C excess. B will be affecting the rate of reaction. This method is called as a Ostwald isolation method. Initial rate law method, Ostwald isolation method, both are same, but only one difference is there. What is the difference? Here you are taking excess and there you are taking constant. Suppose if you want to study of the kinetics of the reaction with respect to A, what we are doing, concentration of A is changing, B and C kept constant in the initial rate law method. Here we are taking the B and C excess. That is the differences between the Ostwald isolation method and initial rate law method. Okay, this is the fifth method of finding out the initial order of reaction. Half-life method, integrated rate law method, graph method, Ostwald isolation method, and initial rate law method. Okay, now let us see the next one. Okay, students, next is effect of temperature on rate of reaction. This initially already I have taught you. It increases 2 to 3. This value is very important and for each 10-degree rise. Okay. So questions will be there like 20 to 50 degrees Celsius. The question will be there. If the temperature is increased by 20 to 50 degrees Celsius, then you have to calculate like this. 20 to 30 two times, okay, 30 to 40 two times, 40 to 50 again two times. So two times and two times. That means rate of reaction will be increasing 2 to the power of 3 times. Okay. So these type of numericals are already asked and there are chances of asking also. Okay. So 30 to 50 to 50 minus 20. That means 3 into 10 degrees Celsius. That's why this 2 to the power of 3. This is a shortcut. Okay. So temperature coefficient is a measure of rate of change in chemical system as a consequence of increase in temperature by 10 degrees Celsius. And this is the formula. Rate of reaction can also be represented with K also. Okay. So this is K T plus 10 divided by KT. Okay. Then the relationship between temperature and rate of reaction is explained, assuming rate constant depends on temperature at which this reaction is run as suggested by Arrhenius. Okay, so that means we are going to study now Arrhenius formula. Okay, Arrhenius formula we are going to study now. Okay, let us see the next slide. Okay, this is the next slide. Now this is related to the Arrhenius. Okay, as the previous point suggested, this is the next slide regarding the Arrhenius constant. Okay, according to Arrhenius theory, reaction takes place. The reacting molecule must collide, and an intermediate complex which is unstable. More unstable, more will be the rate of reaction. Intermediate complex will be there when two molecules of reactant collide. And the intermediate complex is known as activated complex. Okay. In next topic, we are going to study about the effect of temperature, there you should understand activated complex and activation energy. This topic I am going to explain through the graph also. Okay. So what is the Arrhenius equation? Exponential form of the Arrhenius equation is K equal to A into e to the power of minus E upon RT. Okay. Where K is a rate constant, A is pre-exponential factor. Very important. A is pre-exponential factor. Okay. Or it is also called as Arrhenius factor, or it is also called as a frequency factor. Okay. And R is the ideal gas constant, and EA is activation energy, T is the temperature in Kelvin. Always you should remember these values are meant for. Okay. Okay. Next, let us go to the next slide. Just wait. Okay. Okay. Next slide is another form of the logarithmic form of the Arrhenius equation. Okay. So Arrhenius equation we have seen exponential form. To that form only if we apply the log, then we get this one. This is exponential log, E base log. Okay. ln k is equal to ln a minus E upon RT. If I write in the form of the log, then I have to multiply with the 2.303. That time this will be EA upon 2.303 RT. Okay. So if I write this log in the form of the log, that time it will be 2.303 will be additionally coming. Okay. 2.303. That form you can easily convert. Okay. Now we can plot a graph of ln k. This is y versus 1 by t. Okay. Then it will be y is equal to m. The slope will be E minus E upon R. Okay. Intercept is going to be LNA. Understood? Every time you can compare the given equation with the Arrhenius equation with the y is equal to mx plus c, then you will get the slope and all. Okay. Using the Arrhenius equation at two different temperatures. This formula you will use only one temperature. When one temperature is given, this one. When two temperatures are given, log K2 by K1 is equal to EA upon 2.303 R and 1 upon T2 minus T1. Otherwise, if you eliminate this minus, then this will be 1 upon T1 minus 1 upon T2. Okay. So minute difference is there here. Minus is not there and T1 is first here, T2 first here. Okay. So that is the difference. Next, catalyst. We can change the rate of reaction with respect to catalyst also. Catalyst changes the reaction, rate of chemical reaction without self being used up. Okay. Catalyst quantity will not be affected. Same quantity will be affected. Okay. Same quantity will be available before the reaction and after the reaction. So catalyst provides an alternate path. Okay. With lower activation energy. Why catalyst increases, it will decreases the activation energy. Okay. So that graph also we are going to see. Just check this one. Okay. Now let's see the next stage. Next slide. Okay, this is the next slide. Okay, so here why catalyst, how it is able to work out, that is explained here. See, if we are using the uncatalyzed reaction, then number of molecules having the activation energy are only very few. Okay, but if we are using the catalyst, then number of molecule with the required catalyst and activation energy are more. So number of molecules more, that means rate of reaction will also be more. Okay. So rate of reaction will increase due to increase in number of molecules. Is it understood? Now let's see the next slide. I think all of you are noting this. Okay. Next, let us see about the next graph. Next graph also about the catalyst only, but it is in the other form. Okay. So here the next graph is about the activation energy. Catalyst, if we are not using the catalyst, this much distance it have to travel. With the catalyst, if we are using the catalyst, this much is the Activation energy reduce. See, reactant with catalyst and without catalyst same, product with catalyst and without product also same, but only thing activation energy required is less when you are using the catalyst. Therefore, even enthalpy of reaction also same. Okay, only change will be decrease in activation energy. Activation energy decreases, then rate of reaction increases. Rate of reaction, what happens? Increases. That's why there will be increase in rate of reaction. This is where two ways we can explain the effect of catalyst in the number of molecule having activation energy increases or activation energy decreases. That's why a catalyst increases the rate of reaction. Okay. So I think it is clear, noted. Okay. Now let us see about the next one. Okay. Next is very important for the advanced point of view, especially catalysis of a bimolecular collision theory of a bimolecular and gaseous reaction. Okay. So basic postulate collision theory is that rate of reaction is proportional to number of effective collision. Okay. What do you mean by effective collision? Out of 100 collision, it is not that all 100 collision will give you the 100 moles of product. Okay. There will be problems in some of the collision. Out of 100 collisions, suppose only 70 products are produced. These 70 collisions are called as a effective collision. Okay. So effective collision is a one in which molecule collide with the sufficient kinetic energy and orientation. That means the remaining 30 collisions are ineffective. Either they are not having proper orientation or they are not having proper kinetic energy. That's why they are ineffective collision. Only 70 collisions are effective because they have sufficient kinetic energy also. They have proper orientation also. Okay. The number of collision per unit volume per second, it should be measured per second also, per unit volume also. Then it is called as a collision frequency. Okay, Z. And formula for the Z is Z1 is equal to, the Z1 means number of colliding molecule per collision. Okay, containing only one kind of molecule. This one represents one kind of molecule. Okay, pi sigma square V into n star square, where sigma is the molecular diameter. Okay, molecular diameter means the distance between two molecule while colliding. Okay, this is the sigma. And V is the average molecular velocity, very simple. N star is the number of molecule per centimeter cube. Okay, so molecular diameter is only the most important one, significance also important. Note down this, then we will see the other part. Okay, noted. Next, let us see the next slide. Okay, next slide, when two different molecule. In the previous, only one type of molecule. Only one type of molecule. Here this is one type, this is two type. Then formula will be Z12. Z12 is N1 square, N1 star. That means number of molecule of first type per unit volume. N2 star is number of molecule per unit type. Okay. So two types of collisions are possible. Okay. Sigma 1 and sigma 2 are molecular of M1 and M2. Okay. Sigma 1 is the molecular diameter of M1 and M2 is the molecular diameter of sigma 2. Okay. Then N1, N2, already I told you T is the temperature in Kelvin, R is the universal gas constant, M1 and M2 are molecular mass. Okay. So note this formula also, it may be asked in the comprehension. Okay. Noted. Let us go for the next slide. Okay. Next is collide molecule per unit per second reacting containing 1 mole. If they are given in the mole, okay, then the K is equal to Z into Q. Actually, we are just deriving the, by using the collision theory, we are deriving this formula. This is what called as the exponential form of the Arrhenius equation. Okay, K equal to Z into Q. Q is the number of collisions. So substituted this n1, n dash and n star. Okay. Then this is how we determined n star, n dash upon n star, e to the power of e upon rt, number of molecule activated divided by total number of molecules. So this is how we get k is equal to z into e to the power of e upon rt. Okay. Note down this. Noted. Let's see the next slide now. Okay, thank you for watching which came all the best. I hope all concepts are clearly understood and do well, apply the concept, wait for the next session, one short questions. Okay, in this session we have learned only about the concepts. Okay, application of concept, how the questions will be coming and how you have to manipulate. Whether you are able to manipulate or not, that you will come to know when I give you the researched questions. Okay, so all the best. Bye bye. See you. And don't forget to watch every lecture of this individually, in depth concept. Okay, bye.